Now we're going to go over a few things today about rigging, different knots and baits to use and how to rig these baits. And then over the coming months we're going to keep posting these videos about different baits, how to use them, how to make them work for you, where you live, and show you what we have learned over the years. And maybe some of this will help you with where you fish at home. Now today, the first thing that we're going to cover is we're going to be showing you how to tie a Palomar knot. Palomar knot is the most reliable knot of any knot that there is. It's the only knot that's actually stronger than your line. The Palomar knot is the best knot you can use for braided line or monofilament. It's a very easy, simple knot to tie, and anybody can learn how to tie the Palomar knot in just a few moments, and it's not hard to remember how to do it. So the way that we tie a Palomar knot is this is 40-pound Power Pro braid, and we double the line over so that you have it doubled over about 10 inches. Now we're going to take that line that's doubled over and we're going to pinch it and run it through the eye of the hook. So we're going to take that, put it right through the eye of the hook, and run that line through there, and then we're going to do a simple overhand knot, just like you'd be doing your shoelaces on your shoe. So you just do a simple overhand knot. So that's all I've done is an overhand knot. The loop that you've created by doing that overhand knot, you take that loop and you're going to drop the hook through that loop, and then you pull it all up nice and neat and slide it down. That is a Palomar knot, the best knot known to mankind. It's the only knot that's stronger than your line. Your line will always break above the knot. So there's no other knot to be using except for a Palomar knot. If you're using a different knot, this is the knot you should be using. So very simple knot to tie. Now you're going to trim your tag end about 1/16 of an inch from the knot. So you leave just a little tag end off of there. Now we're going to show you how to rig a fluke. This is a wide gap hook. This is a 5/0 wide gap hook, Gamakatsu. And we're going to show you how to rig a fluke on a wide gap hook. Now a fluke is one of our best producing baits here in Florida, and just a great producing bait no matter where you live in the country. It's just a very good big fish producer. This is a Zoom watermelon fluke. Now with a fluke, what you're going to do is you're going to take the tip of the hook and run it straight in to the tip of that fluke, right down to the bend of the hook. When you reach the bend of the hook, you're going to pull that point right out the bottom of the fluke. This fluke has an open belly on it, so that hook comes right out that open belly, just like that. Now once you've run it out of the fluke like that, you're going to slide that fluke right up your hook until it's at the very tip of the hook. Now we've got the hook like this. You're going to measure with your finger where that hook comes, how far it comes back on the fluke. And then you take your hook, you're going to scrunch that up just a little bit and run that hook straight through the fluke where you measured it. Now that fluke is on that hook straight. It's very important that that bait is on the hook straight, or else it's going to want to hop up out of the water. You won't be able to keep it down in the water. Now once you've done that, you're going to take the hook and pull the fluke forward just a little bit and bury the tip of the hook into the fluke. So that is a weedless bait now. Now you'll still have trouble with this bait hopping up out of the water. So there's two ways of curing that problem. You can use a small rattle, glass rattle, or a nail weight. They sell these made just for this purpose. Now the small rattle, where you're going to put that is right behind where your hook is. You're going to take your rattle and you're going to slide it right in to the top of the fluke, just underneath the rubber or the skin of the fluke. And you got to make sure that it's just barely underneath that rubber. If you go in too deep with it, then that rattle is going to come out the belly of the fluke because it's an open bait inside. So it's not very deep. So you push that down in there. Now that rattle works like a weight in the tip of that fluke and will keep that fluke from hopping up out of the water. And it's got a rattle in it also. Now if you're going to put the nail weight in it, you can take the nail weight and you can insert that right into the tip of the fluke. Right where your line goes into the fluke. So now I've got the rattle in there, I'm not taking it out, I'm just showing you now how to put the nail weight in. So you're going to run the nail weight right into the tip of the fluke. And that right there will keep that fluke from hopping out. If you don't have the rattles, you can use the nail weight, which you can buy these at any tackle store, Bass Pro Shops, or Cabela's, and that'll keep your fluke from hopping out of the water. Great big fish producer. I don't care where you live, big fish will eat these flukes. Now the next thing that we're going to cover is how to rig a Texas rig plastic worm. So we use a different hook for a plastic worm. So we're going to cut this wide gap hook off. And drop that aside. And we have a Florida rig slip sinker. And this is a screw-in type. It also has a rattle in the sinker, which I like those. They're kind of hard to find. I think that they're discontinuing them, and it's difficult to find these Florida rig weights. Bass busting right over there. You're going to put the line right in your slip sinker. Run it through your slip sinker. By the way, that's a 3/8 ounce slip sinker. That's just a good general starting size for your weight to use. Here again, we're going to double the line over. Run that line through the tip of the hook, the eye of the hook. Doubled over. And we're going to do our overhand knot again. Just like you're tying your shoes, simple overhand knot. You're going to take your hook, drop it through the loop that you've created by doing that overhand knot. Pull it all down nice and neat. Now you got your Palomar knot. It's tied on there. There's your Palomar knot. We're going to trim our tag end off of that. Leave a 1/16 of an inch. Cut that clean, and we're going to use a twister tail type plastic worm. Now when you're using this type of plastic worm, you always want to make sure that you rig it with the curl up. So the hook is going to come out the bottom side of this worm and the curl is going to go up. So with your plastic worm, you're going to do just like you did with the fluke. You're going to run the hook right into the tip of the worm until you get to the bend, just like that. Now you're going to bring the hook, the point of the hook, out of the worm and then slide that worm all the way up your hook. Now that we've got it to this point here, just like with your fluke, you're going to measure where that hook goes. And then you take it, scrunch it back a little bit, and run that hook into the body of the worm. You always want to make sure that that worm is on your hook nice and straight. And we take our slip sinker, the Florida rig screw-in type slip sinker, and you're going to screw that right into the tip of your worm. That connects the slip sinker to your worm so that it won't slide away from it. The reason that we want that is so that when you're fishing grassy waters or heavy cover, your worm will hang up on the cover and your slip sinker will slide away from the worm. You want to keep your slip sinker connected to the worm when you're fishing that kind of cover. If you don't have a screw-in type slip sinker, you can take a toothpick and peg it, run the toothpick into the tip of the slip sinker and break it off. That will keep your slip sinker snug up against the worm so it won't slide away from your worm. If you're not fishing heavy cover, you don't want to peg it. You want your slip sinker to slide away from it. But when you're fishing our kind of waters in the heavy grass, you want that slip sinker fastened to the worm. That is a completely weedless Texas rig plastic worm with the hook coming out the bottom of the worm, and the curl goes up. Okay, so that's the way we do that. So those are a couple of different baits that we use, soft plastics that produce good here in Florida and will produce wherever you live, anywhere in the United States. I hope this has been a help to you today. There'll be more videos coming. We're going to be posting these weekly. You guys have a great day, catch some big fish, and we'll see you next week.